Hey everyone. To learn about natural selection, firstly we're going to look at just naming each step in the process in a really simplified way. And we're going to use an acronym to remember all the steps. And the acronym is VISTA. V-I-S-T-A. So these stand for the main 5 steps for how species evolve with natural selection. Okay, so first of all is V, and V stands for variation. So you can see here in these tigers show lots of variation in the way they look and the way their body functions and all their other different phenotypes. And it's true for every population. So here's some orchid flowers of the same species. Yes, they're the same species, but they vary slightly in the way they look, how quickly they grow, and all their other survival features. So V for variation. I stands for inheritance. And we've already learnt heaps about inheritance. Inheritance is just the fact that parents pass down their traits down to their offspring and their children, in other words. So we've learnt all about how that works through genes and alleles. And here's an example where the parent, at a young age, she looks really similar to her child at the same age, because the child has inherited a lot of her mum's characteristics here. So the variation in populations, that's inherited down to the children of the next generation. The S stands for survival and reproduction. And it's the fact that because there's variation in every population, that means some of those individuals are going to have a better chance of survival than the others. So here we've got a population of rabbits living in a dry looking grassland here, where most of the landscape's brown coloured. And we can see there's variation in the rabbit's fur colour, because we've got some brown fur rabbits and some white fur ones. So there's variation. But because they're living in an environment with wolves, which are the predators of the rabbits, well, the wolves can see white rabbits much easier than the brown ones. So the brown rabbits have a higher chance of surviving and then reproducing to make offspring to survive to the next generation. And that's going to mean over time there'll be more and more brown rabbits in this population and fewer white ones, because they have less chance of surviving and reproducing. So T stands for time, because evolution needs time for generations to pass and for some species to pass on their traits and some to die out and not pass on their traits. Okay, and if you wait long enough, if there's enough time given, then that means eventually the species will adapt to its environment, so it's better suited to living there. So the A in VISTA stands for adaptation. So after a whole lot of time, this population of rabbits here is adapted to living in this brown grassland, because most rabbits have brown fur, and that's going to help them blend in and be harder to find by their wolf predators. So this population's more adapted than it was at the start because of natural selection. Okay, so variation, inheritance, survival with reproduction, time and adaptation. That's our basic summary of how natural selection works.